Welcome to Woman 2.0 in Conversation series. Today we are going to talk to Veronica Belmont, the co-host of Tekzilla and Qore on the PlayStation Network. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Currently I host Tekzilla, which is a weekly tech and how-to show with Patrick Norton, who used to be on the Screensavers on Tech TV. And I also host a show called Qore on the PlayStation Network, which is a monthly subscription-based interactive magazine that you can download on the PlayStation Network.
Take us through your career path.
Kind of an interesting story. I graduated college in 2004 with a degree in audio radio production and a minor in new media studies. And so I figured San Francisco would be a really great place for me to move to, just because I knew about the atmosphere out here and figured I would meet a lot of like-minded people. So a couple of girlfriends and I drove cross-country and ended up here and found a place to live. And within 6 months, I secured an internship at CNET, and I was doing webcasts for them and editing their audio programs, and doing that as an intern. And then Buzz Out Loud, which was CNET's flagship podcast, had just begun around that same time, and I was a huge podcast fan. I was listening to several. And my boss, James, was their producer, but he was leaving to go work for Oracle, and so they needed a replacement. And I said, hey, I can produce audio. I like podcasts. And so I started producing that. And then eventually, over the next couple months, I got hired on full-time there, continued producing the podcast and also editing and producing the First Look from the Lab series, which was their short mini video reviews. And then I became the third host. And then from there, I started hosting MP3 Insider and the Crave video podcast, and I started doing video for CNET TV. After CNET, I left for Mahalo and did Mahalo Daily for 8 months, and then after that was Tekzilla and Qore.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was a kid, there were a few different ideas. I mean, everyone wants to be a marine biologist at some point in their life, so that seemed like a viable goal at one point. When I was in high school, I thought I'd make a great history teacher because I really loved World Civ and history, and that was probably my favorite subject. I wasn't too hot on the math side of things, but I did love science, I loved history, I loved world civilization, so I thought I would probably be able to do something in that area. But then I realized that teaching is a really brutal job. I mean, I admire people who are teachers so much just because I don't think I could handle the pressure of dealing with teenagers every day or preteens. They're brutal. I see them on the internet. I know these things. I would not want to be in close quarters with them all day. I don't think I could handle my temper. But then after that, I was like, oh, I love music, and I was really interested in the science of sound recording, and that's why I went to school for audio engineering, because I wanted to not only be able to work with sound and work with the equipment that was totally geeky and fun for me to use, but I also wanted to be able to hang out with bands and go to shows all the time and just be involved in that culture.
What's the secret to your amazing personal brand?
The personal brand thing is really interesting because at the end of the day, you're promoting yourself and the essence of what you want people to see. The reason I think that I've been so successful is because I've always just been true to who I really am. Like, I've never tried to not be a dork. I've never tried to hide the nerdy things that I think I do. And that relates well to the audience because at the end of the day, we're all just geeks that sit on the internet 90% of the time and want to relate to other people who like the same stuff that we like. So if you try to hide parts of you that at the end of the day could be really big assets, you're just going to lose out in the end. And I don't know, obviously there's some stuff you want to keep private, and oversharing can be an issue online. But you have to give enough that people feel like they know you, but not so much that, you've bared everything.
Any advice for other women in tech?
My number one advice to women who want to work in technology or work in this kind of industry is to just make sure that you're really super passionate about it. I think that's the number one thing, because if you're not, it's definitely going to show. There's so many girls out there who are, for lack of a better word, just talking heads. They're good on camera, which is wonderful, but if you don't have the knowledge to kind of back it up, there's no real substance there. And I think that people really respect it when women, and men for that matter, I mean there's male hosts as well, know what they're talking about and really care about it and have an interest there that goes just beyond wanting to be on TV.
Thanks for listening. For more, please visit our website at www.woman2.org.